I got a 2024 Peterbilt 389 with a Cottrell 9-car setup, 80-footer. The whole 9 cars in the right environment with the right freight. But it's very versatile. It can haul a lot of pickups, a lot of SUVs. It has a truck package on the trailer, so it'll accommodate a larger load, more pickup trucks and things like that, just with a little bit more ease and make height and try to make weight and just try to keep it loaded up and down California, Northern California to Southern California and back. Try to stay on I-5, going back and forth, up and back. And
what are you running for powertrain on it?
This has a Cummins X15. It's a 565 horsepower. It has the 18-speed auto behind it. What do they call it now? Like the Ultra Shift or something. I can't remember what they call it now, but it is like butter. It's so nice. A lot of the traditionalists, they got to have the gear selector in their hand and moving. And I've done that too. But having moved to this setup, it's so much easier on just everything. So the clutch pedal, all that being gone, easy on the knees, and it makes good power. And I know that there are options to upgrade it, make it a little bit more powerful with ease too. You've got options, a lot of options out there. And we might look into that down the road, but I just got it, only had it maybe 6 weeks now, and I'm absolutely in love with it. It turned out, how my mind saw things, it turned out, I think, pretty well.
What color is the truck? That is a very interesting color.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's called Orange Effect. It's a Peterbilt color.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of metallic flake in it, and it's a shapeshifter. It changes colors all the time. Oh. I mean, you can see here, there's so many different colors just as it is just sitting here, just depending on how the sun hits it, how the shade hits it, which panel picks up the sun, because it'll sit here and the hood will be orange and that'll be maroon. It's a weird color, but it is very dynamic, constantly changing all throughout the day. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It turned out. It was a gamble, because when they told me the color is called Orange Effect, I thought, orange? Like I don't really want orange so much.
Yeah.
I don't want a full-on orange truck. I really was looking for like a root beer brown, and I think we hit it. We got a little extra with it too, so.
How many years you been in the car hauling business?
I first started in 1999. Got my CDL specifically to be a car hauler.
Okay.
Carry cars, and that was it. And I did it for about 12 years, and then I stopped, took a break, and just couldn't get away from it. I couldn't get it out of my blood. I couldn't get it. It was one of those things that hauling cars stuck with me. Yeah. And I love driving trucks. I always have, and so.
First generation or second generation?
I'm first generation doing it. Yeah. It was funny because I worked for, my grandfather had a used car lot.
Okay.
And the guy who would bring the cars in, he'd go to the auctions, buy cars, and then the shipper would ship them in on these car carriers, and I would just talk to him often. And it just seemed more like that was where I wanted to go, the open road, you know what I mean? Get out there, you're not tied to a desk, you can just see things and do things differently on your own time frame, and it seemed, romantic, that whole truck driving thing, just being, your own boss and owner operator and all that. So long story short, bought a truck, started doing it. One truck led to another, and then we got a few, and in the end I just found that for me, how things just sort of panned out, I ended up going back with one truck and just doing myself.
You want to kind of walk us around and show us how this actually works, like the Carhauler trailer and stuff?
Yeah, no problem. Let me flip on the it has a 24 volt electric hoist PTO.
Okay.
So you can run a traditional PTO and have the engine going and idle it up and all that, and it'll do the same thing with the electric hoist.
Okay.
There's flip a switch in here. Sorry, pardon the mess. I just got back from the hotel.
Oh, you're good.
I got this. This is from Toys for Trucks here out near Fontana. They got these made. It is a billet.
Oh.
It is a billet bezel to go over the new style Peterbilt dash, and it sits right on there. And I think that with the bezels on the gauges and whatever, it's almost necessary.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and install that later on today. Probably some two-sided tape or something. Let's see. Go ahead and put that over here. Okay. Now, All the controls, as far as the hydraulics go, there are 2 valve banks, one on the tractor and one on the trailer, that are on the opposite side, because usually if you pull up in front of a place, you're probably going to be up against a curb, and you don't want to be working out in traffic, I guess, as much as, as little as possible, I suppose.
Yeah.
But if you come around, I mean, you have the ability to raise and lower the front there, and this whole table here goes up and down so that you could, once you put a car up here and you get it settled, like you're ready for shipping, you get up there, you just raise this up. And you're ready to put another one underneath here.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you get something, maybe what you have here, you need to configure this so that above it you're not going to be too tall. You have the ability to articulate this right here, which will make this table go like this, which brings the tires of the car, down and kind of conform over the hood of a car that's sitting here, if you can imagine that.
That makes sense.
Those are screw operated hydraulic screws, and they just in and out, and it just bends that thing.
So when you load this, do you load the top first always?
Yes. Yeah, I would say always. Sometimes there's little tricks where maybe you'll put the car here and then load the top just to save time, because a lot of times if you're loading and your cars are behind you, kind of dictates how you would maybe position your cars on the truck just to save time.
Yeah.
That is all it is. Traditionally, yes, you're going to load the top, you're going to load here, you're going to load here, and then your tractor's loaded. Now you're going to mess with the trailer once that's done, because you
is
load
this
the
trailer like permanently fixed to the truck, or can you unhook that?
You can unhook it.
Oh, okay.
You could find another car carrier trailer to put behind it. This here is what you call a stinger mount. Like this truck next to us, it has a traditional high mount fifth wheel. These car carriers, they'll use a stinger mount so that you can get the tongue of the trailer down lower. It's just all about height.
Yeah.
That's one of the main challenges with carrying cars. Height and weight distribution too. These are things you have to consider when you're doing car carrying, because the weight of the engine itself.
Yeah.
And where it's positioned on the truck if you got a car, you got 2 trucks here and both of your engines are forward, you're going to have a lot more weight than if you were to flip one around, or both of them, or whatever. So it's a mental game.
It's like a puzzle.
It is very much like a puzzle. Absolutely. Okay. That's what I've likened it to many times, is it's like a puzzle to put together, because you can take 9 units. You can look at 9 cars, and whatever brand you're hauling, maybe you got a couple sedans, you got a couple SUVs, you got this, that, and the other, and you got to put together in your head the picture of where they need to go to fit for height and weight.
That's cool.
And again, do you put them on frontwards or backwards? It's just another thing that you got to consider. This is the top deck, and this right here is this slider.
Okay.
And this is what bridges your truck from your trailer. So you basically go back to this valve bank back here, and now you're moving this forward, and then you push that lever, and out goes that slider, and it'll meet up with the trailer, or the tractor, I mean. And once that's done, you just do the opposite. You finish load your trailer, you bring it back in, and then you load. You get the top loaded, and up it goes.
That's super cool.
Yeah. How these trailer manufacturers, this is a Cottrell. The 2 main manufacturers for car carriers would be Cottrell and Boydston.
Okay.
And you'll see many more Cottrells than you will anything else, most likely. And their engineering department, it is kind of amazing how they've come up with what angles to put things and how to do it. And somehow or another, they also have, as they're building these things, they know that if you park a car here a certain way, you have to do that, for every reason, the height, the weight, everything. But then also the door will be able to open and you'll be able to get out.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because some trailers come off of here and they go straight across. But this little pitch down allows you to, when the car's up, you got a car here,
Oh, the whole thing just comes out of there.
Yeah, that's called, we call these, that's the belly, and the belly of the trailer. And the whole thing comes up So now you come across these tandems here and drive on in, you know.
Yeah.
And then usually what you're going to do is you're going to put this car on backwards. The front tires will be here and the back tires will be there, and it affords you the ability to open the door and get out of the thing. Because that's a challenge too, especially if you know.
Yeah.
So it's a skinny man's game, but you know, you don't necessarily have to be.
So
super
do you,
skinny.
do you specifically run like low profile tires on your truck and trailer to help also give you height, just like?
Yes, yes. And there's some people that'll run 19.5s on their trailer and their trucks too. But I've had them on my trailer and they work. They're, you know, it's kind of a matter of opinion what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you're a musician, do you like a Fender Stratocaster or a Gibson Les Paul? You know, it's a matter of opinion and what fits. This fits for me. Never mind the fact that these tires are a lot more easy to find over 19.5s. 22.5s versus the 19.5s are a little bit harder to find. But it does go back to height, you know, how to get everything low and down, because we're only allowed to be 14 feet tall.
Like max height?
Max height,
Okay.
yeah. You know, 14 feet, that is it. And to put that puzzle together and make it work can sometimes be a challenge. But you know, it's just the limits that you got to operate within, you know. And it goes back to it because some of the things that they've done is, like on the tractor, TNC Welding in Jacksonville, Florida, they take a standard bubble top Peterbilt and they chop it off.
Yeah.
So you can see how this guy right here, his sleeve is rounded on top,
Yeah.
and mine is flat. And that is another way to get about 6 inches more over the cab.
So you basically buy the truck
Right.
chassis, and then they take it in, chop the cab off,
Exactly.
and then just build it out from there.
Right, yes, yeah. Peterbilt builds it, and then they ship it to, usually what they'll do is whoever's going to chop the top. There's another number of people that are doing the chop tops. TNC in Jacksonville, Fontaine does them. I think Boydston does their own up in Portland. So it's just a matter of where it's going. But Peterbilt builds it. They send it to wherever it's going to go to have that done. And then this whole thing gets built. It's a whole other spec. It's like you spec out the truck and you have that built, and you spec out the trailer how you want it, and then they all get put together in the end. And you end up with this.
That's crazy. That is super cool.
Thank you.
I appreciate the little talk and us showing around your truck.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.